Hey guys, remember when you wanted to visualize your consistent character in multiple different wardrobes? And in order to do that, you had to go over to something like Midjourney and actually generate the wardrobe or variations of the wardrobe, and then take those outputs, connect them together with your consistent character, and hope that the AI understands what you're trying to achieve and actually displays your consistent character in the multiple wardrobe variations that you created without burning a ton of credits in the process. AI has improved so much to where you don't need to do any of that anymore. Literally, in the workflow that I'm going to share with you today, all you need is one reference image, and quite literally, with the click of a button, you can visualize your consistent character in an almost unlimited amount of wardrobe variations. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you a technique that I recently discovered with Flora AI. I've actually tweaked this technique with my own special seasoning, and I will be sharing with you a version of this workflow with the exact same prompts that I use in today's video, which is going to be especially important for those of you who are creating AI cinematic films and want to better visualize your character building process. So be sure to watch this video from beginning to end. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and let's jump right into the video right now. As always with my Flora tutorials, guys, it's going to start off looking intimidating. Right now we're just looking at a bird's eye view of everything, but we're going to be diving into each component to show you how this all plays out. And I also will be sharing a workflow with you. It's going to contain the exact same tweaks that I've done to the prompt that I'm going to be discussing in this video, because again, although Sasha from Flora did an excellent job with this technique, the wonderful thing about something like this is being able to break them apart and add your own special seasoning so that it performs how you expect, because the imaging models have gotten a lot better. Thank a tech nerd god if you see one. And the link to the workflow that I'm going to be sharing with you will be in the description below this video, but be sure that you guys use our partner link if you're going to check this out. If you use our partner link, if you decide to subscribe to Flora after using your free credits that they give you, you will receive 25% off of your subscription for 12 months. But again, only if you use our partner link, because if you go straight to Flora and you signed up, you're going to pay full price. Just FYI. So let's first talk about what a technique is, or what techniques are. And there are a couple of ways that you can get to the techniques menu. If you're in the canvas, if you double click on it, you can see that you can hover right here and it says technique. And if you click on it, they've got all these different techniques that you can check out. The one that we're going to be focusing on is the Wardrobe Variator. And if you clicked on it, it will just add to the canvas just like that. You can also get to the techniques menu and use the technique as an app by coming over to this techniques tab in your Flora account. So if we scroll down, we'll find that same one again that actually Sasha created. Sasha, who is on the Flora AI team. I've interacted with this guy a couple of times in the Creative Partner Program. And if you click on Try Technique, then this is where you could come and upload your image. You could give it some direction. And as you can see, I've tried it this way, and again, it works. But the downside of this is it's siloed to this app. So you're only going to be able to use the presets that are set in the technique, which again, I broke apart and made my own modifications to make it perform a lot more like how I would want it to. And even over here, if you click this workflow tab, you can see what's going on behind the scenes here. So one of the things that I'm going to show you that I changed is I used Claude Opus 5 for the initial prompt, and he used GPT 5.5. And I've just noticed that the results are, in my opinion, night and day. So again, that's what's cool about these techniques, is you can break them down and customize them closer to your taste. Now, again, our focus is going to be using this technique within the canvas, because again, it gives you a lot more options to really just customize it. And at the very base level, to use this technique, you need a reference image. This is one that I created, and then you just attach it to the Wardrobe Variator, and you see it has an input called source character. It also has this styling notes option, and I'll show you how to use that in just a bit with the version that I tweaked. And then you just run this, and it gives you 5 different variations of the wardrobe. And I'm running this again just to show you guys it in action. This is Nano Banana Pro, I believe, the outputs, and it doesn't tell you that when you look at the data, but I know that it's Nano Banana Pro, because if we do something like this, techniques, and again, if I just put the actual technique onto the canvas, again, here's the workflow where you can see the workflow itself. itself. And if we click that and we come here, you see that the image model is Nano Banana Pro. So I'm just going to click the back button. And again, that is preset in this technique. It's nothing you can change unless you actually break it apart, which is what I did and which is what I'm going to show you in this video. Again, some of this is kind of weird, like this image down here is crazy, but this was okay, this was okay, this was okay. So yeah, those were not too bad. But again, I like the option of being able to customize this a lot further. And what we're going to do is just see what it rolls out with this time. But all of this that's taking place right here, I'll show you what that looks like in my version. But it's like its own little agents doing some things. And let me do something right quick. I'm just going to click auto format, and that didn't work out how I wanted it to. So let me try this again. That's 4 images. Okay, I was going to say, where did the other one go? Let's try this one more time. Auto format. Okay, there we go. And I'm just going to move all of this over here, and I'm going to delete this because I don't need it. And before I actually forget to explain to you guys what's going on with this actual technique, what it does is it reads your input image, it creates a prompt that says, hey, based on this look, generate 5 different wardrobes that this character could realistically own. So again, how cool is that? The AI is so advanced now to where it could read your image and say, okay, this has a 1970s vibe, it's a little bit retro, what was going on in that era? And again, based on how our input character looks, all of those things are going to work together to give you 5 different looks. And again, we'll look at everything piece by piece in just a moment. This thing is taking forever to generate, but you guys get the idea of what's going on with this technique. Now let's look at the guts of the technique. Let's look under the hood and let's look at how you can customize this to turn this Porsche into a Ferrari. And really quickly, let's talk about why you'd be interested in something like trying to visualize what your consistent character could look like in various different wardrobes. Hopefully the visualization on the screen kind of drives home this point. But if it's not as obvious to you, maybe you have a consistent character like this one right here. And this is going to be part of the workflow that I share with you guys. I actually shared this with you in a previous video, but I'm going to build on top of that workflow to add all of the other cool stuff that we're talking about today, including the prompts, because that's going to be the most important thing out of all of this. I don't care what anyone says, prompting still matters. It's the same saying that carries over from the software industry: garbage in, garbage out. Again, you wouldn't be able to get the results that you'll get using the workflow that I'm going to share with you guys, which you can download for free, link in the description, without the extra effort I put into actually building the prompt to begin with. But anyway, let's say you have this consistent character and you're like, this is cool, but what are the other possibilities? Maybe I'm still trying to figure out what the story is, where the story takes place. I have an idea of the genre. I'm looking for some inspiration. And that's where this technique is going to come in handy. As you can see, just from a high level view, I tried various different genres with this consistent character, and it worked out pretty well. There were a lot of things that I actually were surprised about, such as this one right here that nailed that 80s look, that 80s synthwave style. So this pre-visualization process could surprise you, because you could end up with something like this and decide to actually run with a complete AI cinematic film concept. And not only that, but I'm going to show you this technique that you can actually stay within the look of your reference image to expand on that further. So again, if we think about the reference image right here, this is what we're going to be asking. We're going to say, for this particular reference character, what are 5 other wardrobe variations that this particular consistent character could realistically own? So the AI is going to analyze the image and say, okay, based on this consistent character and the style of clothing, and even get a read on the genre if that information is present in the image, as I'll show you in the main demo that I'm going to demonstrate, reveal to me 5 other wardrobe variations that this particular consistent character could have hanging in their closet. So I hope you guys are starting to get an idea of how you can apply this workflow, this technique, to your own AI filmmaking endeavors. Let's continue on. Okay, so before we explain the components as well as some of the modifications that I made, before we actually crack open the technique that Sasha created, I first want to explain why I made the adjustments that I did. And that really only comes from understanding how everything works under the hood, as well as how you like to do AI gen. Now, the reason that I made the modifications that I did after testing out Sasha's technique, and again, we're talking about the Wardrobe Variator, is for one, his prompt engine was GPT GPT 5.5. And just in my earlier testing, you know, when I showed you guys some of the examples when we looked at it from the app view, I just didn't like the results that I got. And even further, I took the prompt that Sasha had in this box and I actually took it over to Claude and worked on it a bit, because I found that as it had been with these AI image models in the past, not so much now, the generations, obviously the other consistent character was here before this one, my AI character shape was not holding. And that's evident in some of these earlier gens right here. Like these were the ones that came out before I did the modifications, because the ones over here on the right are the ones after the mod to the prompt, and this worked out a lot closer to what I was expecting. So again, that's the cool thing about being able to go in here and do your own stuff to get results that were a lot closer to what you had in mind. The other modification I made is, again, as we showed a little bit ago, out of the box, he's got it tethered to Nano Banana Pro, which actually is not that bad, and neither is Nano Banana 2. But as I showed you guys in a previous video, my preference has been Seedream 5 Pro. It just has a better aesthetic in my opinion. And as you can see, most of these images are Seedream 5 Pro, and again, I just prefer that look. But Nano Banana has its own vibe as well. And again, honestly, it doesn't perform that bad, but I wanted to have my own preference for the image gen. And so that is why when I found out about this technique, I knew that just because of the way Flora AI's tech is set up, I was going to be able to take that thing and, again, as I said, turn it into a Ferrari. And just on the outset, look at the difference in how much this workflow has collapsed. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inputs. And this is just Seedream 5 Pro, Nano Banana Pro, Nano Banana 2, because these are really the only image generators that I care about. But you also still get those 5 up here that come out of this, because we're using some pretty cool things like batch nodes, and we'll get into breaking down all of this in just a minute. I just wanted to walk through my thinking behind this, because once I break it open and show you where all of this is coming from, I don't want to forget all of that stuff and then be editing the video and be like, oh shit, I forgot all of that context. But anyway, let's continue on. Okay, now let's crack open this technique, and to be able to see, like I said, the guts of the technique, all you would need to do is the following. Let's go to techniques. Let's find the Wardrobe Variator. Let's bring it onto the canvas. I'm going to drag it down a bit because, again, we're going to explode this view. And all you'd want to do to be able to see what's going on under the hood is click on this button right here that says detach into nodes. We're going to click that, and there you have it. Everything that I showed you earlier is exactly how this thing works. And again, as you see right here, he starts off with GPT 5.5, and from that he goes to Opus, which is okay. But again, this is what it looks like under the hood, and let me just again explain how this technique works. So again, you've got your input image, and then he's got this thing called styling notes. And what's even cooler is that in the prompt itself, you can even add this box, and it says factor in styling notes for the outfit direction. And what's cool about this is you could change this to whatever you want, or you can leave it blank and leave it connected. It's not going to change anything, but that can give the style direction, which I'll show you how that works in my example. But the first thing that happened was he gave this text box, which is like if you just hit T, you get one of these. He pasted in the prompt, and then he hit this button, and from that, all of this down here generated as a prompt. And what you'll note is that there are 5 dashes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because in the prompt he wants 5 outputs. Okay, so now you've got the 5 prompts. What he did was an older way, which he actually talked about in the training that he did on this. Basically, with those dashes that we have for each of those prompts, if you click split list into nodes, that's what happens. You get your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different prompts. But he also showed in his training that you can do this with batch nodes now, and that's what you see me doing here with this blue box right here. So again, we'll get into that and I'll show you in just a minute. But from here, he just connected these text prompts to an image node. And again, you just hit I and you select whatever model that you want. But the trick here that you have to make sure that you remember is not only are you connecting the prompt box, but you also need to connect your reference image. That's one of the things I forgot early on and burned a bunch of credits trying to figure out why the output was not looking like my reference character, and realized, oh shit, I forgot to actually connect the reference character to the image node along with the prompt box. And again, the reason you see this output like it is with the blue and all that stuff is because before I deleted what was in this box right here, that's the style guide he had in here that got picked up when this was generating the prompt, and it all transferred over here. And just so I don't forget, let me just go ahead and go through some of his original prompt just to, again, kind of give you some context into his thinking, because again, this was pretty brilliant. It says, read the input image and lock the character's identity, face structure, facial features, skin tone, eye color, hair color, and body proportions. These stay identical across all 5. Also keep the render style, posture, composition, and background color. Now this is the important part. It says, then act as the stylist building the character's wardrobe, read their current outfit for subculture, silhouette, and palette, then build 5 different fits they would plausibly own. That's what I was telling you guys earlier on in the video, because how cool is it now that AI can again read your reference image, determine all of that, subculture, silhouette, palette, and then determine other outfits, or 5 other outfits they could plausibly own, they could actually have hanging in their closet. And this beats the method of, you know, going over to Midjourney, generating the wardrobe, and then connecting the reference image to the wardrobe, and then creating a prompt, and then hoping that it all comes out. And that's only for the one outfit. So this is a much better way of visualizing all of the various looks your consistent character can have within your AI cinematic narrative. So again, out of the box, using the technique, it doesn't do a bad job. But again, I noticed that the body proportions weren't locking consistently. As you can clearly see, her body proportions here are a bit more fuller than something like this right here. She starts to lose definition, but it does a good job of locking on her identity. But again, it looks like she shrunk a bit. And that could be a problem when you're trying to make sure your character stays consistent from scene to scene while trying to do something like change the look or the wardrobe. Okay, so it's not going to take me too long to explain mine now that I've explained how the overall thing works. A couple of things that are different with mine is, number one, I already told you that I'm using batch nodes, and I'll show you how to do this in a minute. First thing is, again, I redid the prompt and I worked with Claude, actually Opus 5 within my instance of Claude, to take Sasha's prompt and tell it the problems that I had, again, which was trying to get the body proportions to match. And I iterated on it a couple of times until I got exactly what I needed, where it started working a lot better. And again, this is a very long prompt, but I give you guys this workflow for free, so be sure to check the description under the video for the link to get the same workflow with the actual prompts that I'm using in this same video. And also, again, my starting engine was Claude Opus 5, which kicks everything else off. The other thing that I did is, again, I have this text node down here, and it's the same as if you were to use it right here. You would just push T for a text, and then you would just attach it right here. And whatever you put in this box, like if you typed in retro sci-fi, then that would get picked up right here in the styling notes, which gets pushed over to everything over here. And you can see that that checkmark says that it recognizes it, but I'm just going to delete this. And again, you can see it's optional. But what I did was I took this image itself, and this is all I said. I said, what era / vibe do you get from the attached? And then it went on this pontification of everything. And I said, cool, give me this as a short style guide prompt. And I literally just hit the copy button, went and pasted it here, and that got picked up right here. Because one thing you have to keep in mind is if you do this and you have the Flora technique on your canvas and it says like styling note, it's going to try to pick up the one from the other workflow. You have to change the name so that whenever you're adding it, like I'm going to do it right quick, where I'm just going to say at, and I'm going to find it right here. And when you do that, it automatically attaches to this box. In fact, check this out. If you delete it, it just keeps reconnecting. So if I do that, see, this keeps reconnecting. The only way it would go away is if you deleted this like that, just FYI, because that drove me crazy when I didn't realize what was going on. But again, the moment you bring it back in, then there's that automatic connection, which is pretty cool. So that's the other thing that is different. And now on to this batch nodes box right here. So instead of how it was done in the past, where you do the split list into nodes and then out pops all 5 of these little prompt boxes right here that you had to then go and connect everything all up again, and it was just kind of a long, tedious process. Now all you do is the following. You just take this, drag it out, and then you just click batch. And then from here, you have this little option right here that says input split. And you can just click by line. And then instead of all of those 5 boxes out and everything needing to be connected, you've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 prompt instances, and you're still connected to everything. Well, let me make sure that I give you the correct guidance on this. So I'm going to delete this right here because I'm saying you're still connected to everything. But what you do have to do is once you break all this out like that, then you need to put your image nodes on the canvas. And again, you can just hit I, and then what you do is just drag this over right there, and you would still need to drag this over like that. So you see it's connected just like that, but you don't have to do this every single time because as you see right here, it says it will run all 5 prompts. And let me just show you how this works. Now, I've already ran this thing like crazy, so I'm going to disconnect this stuff because it kind of went off the rails a bit, and I didn't mean to generate so many images, but you know, I'm going to clean this up at some point in the video. But I just want to show you this because there is some instances that was always a problem with like Nano Banana Pro and sometimes Seedream where they just regenerate the same image all over again. As you can see, some of these poses are just the same as the reference image, but we did get a lot of stuff in terms of variation before it started going off the rails. And I didn't want to delete any of this stuff because I wanted you guys to see that it's not a flawless operation every single time, but you definitely don't need to generate as many images as I did. I just kind of went crazy, and you could easily just burn through all your credits not paying attention to what you're doing. So be careful with that. And so at its most basic, this is my version that I entitled the Wardrobe Variation Flywheel. And this is pretty much the entire operation in a nutshell. I'm going to run it because I want you to see how it actually plays out, because this goes in a sequence. Everything gets fed into this prompt box. It's going to generate a new prompt. It generates a new prompt every single time. And then it's going to feed through the batch node and then into the image generator. I'm going to change this to Seedream 5 Pro, and I've got this set at 2K. And again, it's going to run all 5 prompts. And the other thing that I want to show you just real quick before I forget, doing it this way allows you to rerun prompts over again by pressing this button on the image generator that you have, but only when the technique is exposed this way, when you've customized it. Because if you see right here, you do not get that option to just iterate off of what you've got. You have to run the process all over. And let me again just explain what I mean. So let's say that you ran this, and out of this right here came this isolate item 5, and you just wanted to iterate off of this. You didn't want to change this look. Then you would just keep running this to see the different looks. But if you start this all over, then this is going to do its thing, and then this is going to do its thing. Or if you want to stay within this realm, you can run this again and get variations of this. So I hope that makes sense. I know a lot of this is very nerdy, but I'm trying to explain it as easily as I can so that you guys can follow along, so that you get it, so that all of this is not as intimidating. It's got so much of an explanation because it allows so much creativity and freedom, and that's why I love node-based workflows. So again, now with that explanation done, let me just show you what I'm going to do. I made this into a field, and the way you make things into a field is you basically just hover over them, and then you have this option right here where you can click field, and then you get something like that. But I don't want the field on this, so I'm going to remove the field. But when you put things in a field, it just keeps things a bit more organized, so you can move this around like this, which is pretty cool. But again, what's going to happen is this is going to fire off, then it's going to fire off into this, then it's going to fire off into this. So let me just show you that in action. So again, here we go. This is picking up the reference image, and it's picking up this style notes 2, and it's creating a new prompt like I mentioned. And this is Claude Opus 5. It's reading everything up here, and the prompt itself is going to come out down here. Okay, so now we have the prompt, and it is being passed through this batch node, and now we're starting to generate our 5 images with Seedream 5 Pro. Okay, so that process has completed, and these are the 5 images that came out of that generation. And some of them kind of look good, some of them maybe not so much, but I would say this is not too bad, especially given that you didn't have to try to figure out all of these different looks yourself, and you can always re-roll this to get something different. Now, one thing I do want to say is that if you want more variation, then and you need to make sure that you get rid of everything in this text, because if you keep this style reference in here, which is exactly what it is, then you'll just get more of this particular look. And you kind of see that going on right here, where it's variations on that style, but it's very much still in that same vein in terms of the color palette. And if you want to actually see all of these images at once, then what you would do is you would right click on this, and then you'd say extract outputs onto canvas. All of your images are going to show up like that, and you can line them up to get a side-by-side comparison like this. And if that looks a bit messy, you can always do auto format, and that's what you get. And this is just a variation on what I was doing over here. So give me a minute. I'm going to try to clean some of this up so that I can pull out the images that I thought were images that I could use for something. So I'll catch you in a bit. So out of all of those generations, I pulled out the ones that best represent what I was trying to go for in terms of different attire, different wardrobe for my consistent character, while at the same time maintaining body composition. And as you can see, we have a mix of Nano Banana Pro and Seedream 5 Pro, a little bit of Nano Banana 2, and doing it this way just gives you a really easy way to see all of the different possibilities that you could potentially iterate on and create something that you can showcase to your audience. And this one, not really a wardrobe variation, but I like that it changed the pose. So instead of standing, she's sitting. But again, there were a lot of those situations where some of the images just turned out to be exactly the same thing. There were some variations, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but it kind of went off the rails. But I didn't have that problem as you saw today. So again, I don't know what happened, but I don't think you're going to run into that situation. Just don't go crazy over generating, because you can have so much fun with this that you end up burning through all your credits and not really realize what's going on the back end. So again, just keep an eye out on that. And as promised, guys, what I've done is I've just gone ahead and updated the workflow that you guys already have access to. You'll recognize some things already here on the canvas, because again, this is just a workflow that I've been building on top of. So if you already have access to this workflow, if you haven't visited it for a little bit, when you go here, you'll see that this Wardrobe Variation Flywheel is here, as well as this character that I tested everything with. And if you do not have access to this workflow, the link to it will be in the description. Again, you can clone this project and use it for free. Flora gives you free credits to play around with. And again, be sure to use our partner link if you do decide to subscribe after using your free credits, because you're going to get a 25% discount every month for 12 months if you decide to subscribe, but you'd pay full price if you just went straight to Flora without using our partner link. So what are you guys' thoughts about this workflow? Is this something that you plan to use for your consistent characters to pre-visualize all of the various possibilities for your AI narrative short films? Let me know in the comments below this video. And for more Flora AI workflows, tips, and tutorials, then be sure to check out this playlist on your screen. As always, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Once again, my name is Paul Adonis Maximus. Thanks for checking out this video. Please join me in the next one.